welcome to OBG Talks. I'm Harry Van Schaik, Regional Editor, and I'm joined today by Hussein Choucri, the Chairman and Managing Director of HC Securities and Investment. Welcome, Hussein.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. Well, today we're going to be discussing a lot about the capital markets in Egypt and their relation to Covid-19 and also projecting where trends are going to be going. And so, Hussein, I'm going to be asking you the first question about how capital markets really affects and the financial services sector affects the wider economy. So what are the fundamental characteristics of the Egyptian financial sector that contribute to the country being the only country in the MENA region to forecast to grow in 2020?
I'm going to talk about two important points. The first one is government policy, monetary and fiscal policy. Monetary policy has been an easy monetary policy. Central bank took steps to reduce interest rates. It has provided subsidies to certain sectors of the economy that needed help, tourism industry, and so on and so forth. So monetary policy is an easy monetary policy. Fiscal policy, I think, also was on the expansionary side. Government has provided cash payments to certain some unemployed people in the unofficial sector. This has helped to cushion the shock of COVID. But more important, I think the banking sector in Egypt has always been solid, is very resilient, well capitalized. We have a capital adequacy ratio of 16%. NPL is around 4%. The banking sector is a fundamental pillar of the Egyptian economy. In times like these, it keeps the credit flowing to the economy, to corporations, to individuals. So I think it's a combination of good monetary and fiscal policy coupled with a strong banking sector. Now, if we talk about the capital market has been quite resilient. In fact, volume on the exchange has been quite solid, quite high. In fact, the government took steps to provide liquidity to the market. Certain government sectors, certain government portfolios have been active in the capital market. So overall, I think the economy is functioning. That's why the economy is able to grow at 3.5%. Obviously, one important factor also is the government continuing to finance big government projects, the infrastructure projects. That has continued, but it has continued with the background of a strong banking sector and easy monetary and fiscal policy.
I think you touched on something really important there, the idea of capital and liquidity, which has been very essential to businesses of all sizes during the course of this pandemic. So I want to follow up with a question about financing. So in what ways will debt and equity markets be seen as a solid and flexible alternative for accessing capital for companies of all sizes, let's say?
In 2020, there were no IPOs, and that is obviously explainable given the COVID and the appetite for new issues. But in 2019, we had between 18 and 19, we had about 5.2 billion pounds of new issues. The liquidity on the market is solid. We have seen the first sukuk issue in 2020 for a large real estate company, quite successful, in fact. So I would expect to see more of these type of issues, sukuk or bond financing, debt financing. Now that interest rates have come down and we are at about 10% more or less, down from 15 and 18. So I think I see a resurgence of debt fixed income issues, more debt issuance, whether sukuk or regular fixed income securities.
And I want to talk about technology because this pandemic has changed the way that we all live and that we all work as well. So, how will technology usage be boosted over the long term in the sector, especially in light of accelerated digitalization as a result of COVID-19?
For the first time in Egypt, people started giving more value to companies that are working in the fintech space. Companies like Fawri, like Misa, have seen their businesses flourish while everybody else is struggling to make ends meet. These type of companies have done very well. And more important, they are still working from home remotely, and we see more fintech startups being financed by private equity. The success of Fawri has been was phenomenal, and I think we'll see more fintech companies starting. So over the long term, with the government initiative to have financial inclusion, we'll see the technology play more important role in the economy. We have seen a surge in mobile transfers, in mobile financial transactions, and this will continue. This will grow as well. So it's coming. Financial inclusion is coming at the right time, given what's happening with COVID. Frankly, COVID came to, sometimes bad things, good things happen from bad things. So here, COVID, that made everybody nervous and cautious and so on, came to accelerate the development of fintech companies in Egypt.
Could not agree more. So just as a concluding note, I'd like to ask you how you would evaluate the resilience of the Egyptian economy and the Egyptian financial sector going forward. What's your vision for the financial services sector post-pandemic?
I can tell you, given COVID and what's happening elsewhere, Egypt is in a very nice place. It's in good shape. The markets are functioning well. The banking sector is solid. In fact, I see a surge in finance, in banking, in stock market activity after COVID. The Egyptian economy, even with COVID, is at 3.5%. Projections are it will be at between 5 and 6%. So I expect a nice recovery in all sectors of the economy. And I think finance, investments, banking will be at the forefront.
I think that's a wonderful way to conclude. Hussein, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.